Have you ever thought about the people in your life who have a direct impact on your career? It's kind of interesting because the people you surround yourself with can either lift you up or they can drag you down. So let's dive into why being intentional about the circle of people you keep around you is really important. The people you interact with on a daily basis can have a huge impact on your decisions, on your well being, and your overall happiness. I've definitely experienced this firsthand, especially during career transitions that I've made. Most of those transitions have started with some sort of a conversation I had that really shifted my perspective on things. One quick conversation with somebody really can change everything. So there's 5 things I try to keep in mind when I try to proactively shape the community of people around me, especially in the context of the impact it can have on my career psychology. First off, quality over quantity. Especially as I've gotten older and now that I'm a working parent, I have become a lot more selective about the people I spend my time with. I'll definitely admit my community and my network around me actually feels smaller than it did when I compare it to, let's say, the days when I was in college or university. But honestly, I definitely think it's higher quality. If you think about it for a second, you might want to consider the friends or the family around you who actually boost your confidence. Who are those people? For me, my mother has always been really supportive of me. I've got a few very loyal friends around me who have been a really positive force for me, and also new people that I'm meeting who I find really inspiring, really positive, and the kinds of people I want to associate myself with. And this all really reminds me and helps remind me of what really matters in my life. The second thing that I try to keep in mind is to identify a support system around me. So if you take a moment to think about your own connections, consider who aligns with your values, who lifts you up, who are the people who are supportive of you, and who are the people who are not supportive of you. Those people who are helpful to you in your career, those are the relationships that you want to prioritize. They're going to help you stay focused no matter what comes up in your career and your life. Number 3, I try to define what I consider to be the right individuals in my life. And what I mean by the right people is that I've certainly have my own share of self-doubt. I am somebody who does question if I'm on the right path. I tend to be quite self-critical. And that's why I find it really helpful to define what I want my professional circle to look like so I can have people around me who are supportive and who can offer me some thoughtful feedback. I am guilty of being judgmental of people who I maybe don't think belong in my network, but it's surprising because sometimes certain people who on the surface don't seem like they would be the best connections are actually the people who I've found can help boost my confidence. And so I try to reach out to people irrespective of my perhaps superficial judgments of them. Number 4, I try to set community standards. And now what I mean by community standards are that we hear a lot about community standards for groups and organizations, but what about your own life? Are there people in your life who disempower or disrespect you? Those are the people you want to be cautious of. You want to try to steer clear of those people who also have preconceived notions about your career. They can definitely hold you back. And to instead be intentional about who you let into your life. If someone's bringing negativity instead of positivity, maybe it's time to create a little bit of distance there. I have actually recently made a point to distance myself from people in my own life who I feel are more depleting than energizing, and to really spend more of my time with people who exhibit behaviors and attitudes that I want to emulate myself, the people I'm really proud to introduce to others in my life, and the people I'm proud to have as a part of my life. And finally, I say all that, but I also think it's really important to embrace diversity. Having a diverse network of people is useful. It is definitely way easier to hang out with people who are like-minded. And at the same time, when I think about my biggest growth moments in my own career, those have actually come from the people who are probably the most different from me because they tend to challenge my views. And that's where diversity is really valuable. So You want to make sure you're spending time with people who inspire and uplift you, but it's also important to spend time with people who challenge you and will give you critical feedback. So just to recap here, what does it mean to be intentional about the people you surround yourself with? It means prioritizing uplifting relationships, setting some community standards for yourself, but also embracing a little bit of diversity. So if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. And if there's been someone particularly helpful to you in your career, I'd love to hear more about how you've benefited from having them in your life.